Sorry about that, everybody. And then, Jason, would you say something real quick to make sure they can hear you?
Hey everybody, how's it going?
There's Jason, there's a huge lag on the chat, so they're usually often 5 to 6 seconds below. Okay, thank you so much, everybody, and welcome to our first live stream with anybody other than Zuzana Kunskova, and our first shared live stream from home, where I'm currently trying to get my poor laptop not to fall apart into little pieces. Jason, you all know Jason from plenty of things, but the most recent thing that Jason's been working on is something called Blueprint. So before we do anything else, Jason, can you say hey and then introduce Blueprint to people?
Hey everybody, Blueprint is a rapid code generation tool for Laravel developers. It's meant to make life good and efficient.
Does it have a website yet?
No website yet. Actually,
Okay.
I was just teasing about that on Twitter. I do things really measured, so like when it got to 1K stars, I was going to make a docs page. So I'll be doing that this weekend.
Oh, nice.
And using Jigsaw, by the way.
Oh, that makes me even happier. Let us know if there's anything we can do to make it better for you.
Yeah, it should be good. I'm excited.
Nice. So what we're doing today is continuing to build out the idea of presets in Lambo. And we were someone who had mentioned, hey, why don't you do a Blueprint preset? I realized Blueprint is a perfect pair with Lambo because it's all about spinning up new apps quickly. And so to be able to have like your Lambo app spin everything up exactly the way we want, and then also have a Blueprint to set up like a draft.yaml file ready to use Blueprint, it's even faster to spin up your first app. And we have not finished building presets, so we figure this is now a more real context. Some of the other contexts were kind of made up, like, well, you might want this. Well, you will definitely want Blueprint. Blueprint is a composer dependency, but there's also individual steps you're going to want to take as a part of it. So hopefully bringing in Blueprint as a preset will allow us to do this. Now, this is going to be a first-party preset because I want it there, but we might do a little bit of imagining today to think about what might it look like if Blueprint were a third-party one as well. So we're going to jump right into it, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to start building it, and I'm going to ask Jason to kind of talk me through as I build it what things need to be done to spin up a new Blueprint project, and then we're going to see how well our current presets code actually works for that. You know what else I need to do, though? I always forget that at home I don't have my Stream Deck, so the tweet doesn't automatically get sent out. So let me send out a tweet real quick, and I'll actually let y'all see what I'm doing. Send out a tweet real quick, and we're live with... Oh my gosh, this computer is so slow right now. Y'all, it's going to be slow today. It's having a lot of trouble sharing both Skype with Jason and then also OBS with y'all. Working on Lambo and Blueprint. All right. Wow, this is slow. This is going to be an interesting challenge. Okay, so here's what we're working on. These are my notes as always. Creating a preset for Blueprint, using the Blueprint preset to start building out the before, run, and after methods when you call the presets, and then hopefully building out some help stuff so we can actually write the basic help documentation for this one. And again, we haven't built out the help stuff, so we're going to use this help stuff to help build it out. So somebody did just bang uptime. Is that a Twitch thing? I'm very curious what that is. Okay. All right, so let's get to it. So we're going to go into our current code that we have, and we're going to run it in Sublime Text today because I was trying to use VS Code earlier, and it was just totally going too slow. So we have this run presets test that we're going to take a look at to kind of help us understand what is it actually doing. So first of all, we're defining the fact that you can pass parameters in when you're running a preset. So if you were to say telescope : ABC, DEF, those would be passed as parameters. You can pass a single parameter, you can pass no parameters, and you can pass in multiple presets. So what we need to do now is, and I think this is all, and then it can generate a preset class name from the short string. So it kind of looks to me here like the way we built this last time was the short string is just basically being like camel or Pascal cased. I kind of thought we had actually built a mapping somewhere, but this right here, oh, look at this. Look at all these to-dos that I forgot about from last time. All right, well, we're going to have to take a look at these later because I don't want to deal with them right now. But it news pre-made presets from short strings. This is kind of what we're doing here. So get preset by short name telescope. That's going to look in app presets pre-made telescope. And I think it's probably just converting it and Pascal casing it. So let's create one for Blueprint.
Nice.
Do you capitalize the P or no?
No capital
Okay.
P, just capital B.
So Blueprint. All right. So what's our composer require?
It is Laravel-Shift/blueprint.
And I'm guessing it's going to be.
Its current version's 1.6, so we could do like 1.0. I would go ahead and just do 1.6.
Okay.
Then that way we can get everything above, because that was a pretty big release.
Okay. And are there any very simple shell commands we're going to run after, or are they all going to be more like touch draft.yaml and put actual content into it?
Probably only the touch draft.yaml.
Okay.
Pretty lightweight.
All right.
But
And
I would actually Composer require just one more thing.
Yeah.
It suggests and generates code that potentially uses the additional assertions package that I made. So it's Jason McCreary, all one word. And then /Laravel-test-assertions. Sorry.
Okay. What version you want on those?
1.0 should be fine there. Or, well, sorry, 2.0. I recently tagged a change of the trait name.
Sweet. So this is the basic thing that gets pulled in. So let's real quick take a look at base preset and see what other things are available to us. So we've got this composer requires before shell commands, after shell commands, but then we also have a before, a run, and an after. And so currently what we were thinking about is that that you would have to basically extend the before, extend the run, extend the after. I'm kind of thinking about a structure where, because I think like any time where I have to extend something like that and remember to call the parent one, it's an opportunity for me to forget to remember to call the parent one. So I'm wondering if there's an easier way to do like a custom before on the extended preset. Do you have any ideas for how you would name something like that? Because we want them to call the simpler name, right? We want them to call before. Of course, somebody's blowing leaves right by my window. Do you have any thought about how you would do that? Because we really go ahead.
Go ahead. Yeah, what's kind of the rough idea? Where basically you like before, but you want to.
Yeah, so let's do this. I'll write crappy names, and then we see how we think about it. So we're going to do a custom preset before method, right? And then this right here basically says if defined custom preset before method. Actually, it would have to have it as like an abstract, I guess. No, because they don't have to have it. So it would just be an empty function.
Yeah.
Custom preset before method and just does nothing. So the problem is we want to keep this name as before because this is the one that should be run. But it's kind of weird to have the presets have this like really nasty name. So I'm trying to think of like what's a simple name that we can use here that preset authors would understand pretty well, even though the consumers should be able to just run them before. Yeah. Although I guess, you know what? There are no consumers. The only consumers are us, is Lambo. So
yeah, if you're not sharing it, I mean, just overwrite it and do parent. I mean, but I definitely understand why that's not so clean if you share it. But yeah, you could do like before action. We could do before.
You know what we could do is we could do base before.
Yeah.
And then this calls basically the before. Because again, the only thing that's actually going to be running this before method is internal Lambo code. So the fact that this internal Lambo code right here is kind of nasty doesn't actually bother me that much.
Yeah, with you.
Okay, cool.
That's cool.
Let's go actually check to see are any of our tests using it. Nope. Okay. Sorry, chat folks, I'm not seeing you quite as much. Hey, Bogdanovich. Hey, Maker Images. All right, so we're going to do a base before, and then a before, a base run, and then a run. And interestingly, right now, our base run doesn't actually do anything either, but I'm not sure if it's going to stay that way. So right now, we're going to at least call this run. And then our base after and our after. And then...
Nice.
After, do nothing. Great. So when we're extending it here, because I think that the more likely people to be not me writing things are going to be writing presets. So I want the presets to be really clean.
Sure.
All right. So before runs, interestingly, it actually runs before the composer requires, which we might have to change that because we might want it to be a true before. But that's not what we want for yours. For yours, it's going to be probably an after, or I guess it's really going to be a run. Because we're not running any, it could be either, I guess. Let's just call it run for now. So public function run. So what we're going to do is basically generate a base draft.yaml file And that's really it, right? Like installing Blueprint is really just installing this, and then creating your base draft.yaml. It's not as if you're going to like always run it immediately because they're going to want to edit it.
That's
So
right.
so we're going to touch it for sure, but like okay, here's a question. First of all, is there a basic space that every draft.yaml file should look like? And then second of all, are there a couple like common pre-configured ones where we could make those parameters or something like that? Is like are there good parameters for Blueprint?
Not necessarily, because Blueprint is really about generating your custom code,
Yeah.
and we'd be hard pressed to know what that looks like.
Yeah. Is there like a base template for draft.yaml at least, even if we're not thinking about parameters?
We could do a base template of just having like a generic,
That's what I was thinking, like a
models
posts
and
or something.
controllers section.
Uh huh.
But like, again, I don't know. I don't know how helpful that is. My assumption would be if someone uses the Blueprint preset, they kind of know what's up.
Yeah, I think what's easier a little bit more for me often is thanks, John. What's easier for me a little bit often is that if I understand how the thing works, but I forget the syntax, often
Yeah,
having a preset like that just kind of gives me, oh, right, yeah, that's where I do it. And so it's really just kind of like a shortcut to your brain. And if you're
yeah,
super experienced and you like writing it yourself, you just hit Command Alt Delete. You know.
yeah. No, I think
Um,
that's cool. We could steal the README example from the repo.
all right, so that's going to be GitHub Laravel Shift Blueprint. Let me zoom this up for y'all. Looks for draft.yaml, PR for the draft.yaml, or draft.yaml.
Yeah, it actually is the full YAML right now. That would be a nice PR. I do see more people doing the YML.
Yeah. All right. So where is it? Is it in source or stubs? Or
It's
README, you said.
just in
Sorry.
README. Yeah, you
Yeah.
can just copy it from the example right here.
Great. All right. So real quick, let's do this for people who don't know it. And this is cool because one of the things this helps us realize is that we're going to need stubs in our presets. So let's just build it out as stubs right now and then see what we think about it. So blueprint draft.yaml. And again, I'm not exactly sure that's where we're going to want it. So anybody who's not familiar with it, could you walk us really quickly through what this draft.yaml would do?
Yeah, so this would generate kind of your basic blog. So we have a models section where we defined what it is to be a post. So it has a title, content, and published at, and you notice kind of the fancy data types from migrations, all the same as what you would do in Laravel. And then the controller section, we're identifying a post controller, has an index and a store. So we can see kind of roughly some actions, and again, trying to align pretty closely with what Laravel syntax you would write anyway. So we send a mailable to the post author. We validate title and content. We save an eloquent post model. We fire an event of new post. We flash the post title and we redirect back to post index. So it's really meant to be pretty common, but it's also dense. So it does take a little getting used to. But I tried to build it for speed.
Yeah.
So this would basically generate the post model, migration, factory, the controller, the routes, the tests, and all of the different objects like the mailable, the job, and the event that you outlined in your store statements.
I love that. And honestly, it's to the point where I'm also almost imagining like people building draft.yaml generators where like,
Yeah,
they make it super easy, either in a command line or whatever, for you to say, just ask you the basic questions you have and real quick, and it'll spit out a draft.yaml that you can kind of throw into something.
absolutely. At 2K stars, I kind of have more of like a Docker image repository kind of thing, like a
Mm-hmm.
blueprint draft file repository where people can just go and get what it is to be like a post model.
Nice. That's cool. Yeah, and just an idea here. I could imagine a web-based generator for draft.yaml files that is accessible by non-programmers,
Hmm.
and you have your product owner define their understanding of a spec and then kind of throw a draft.yaml at you. And that could be a really interesting way to kind of kick off a project is you're working with your product owner in that UI, build it out, and then it spits out a draft.yaml that you work on at the beginning of the project or something.
Oh yeah, that'd be super cool.
I like that a lot. Okay. So this is going to be our basic one. I think we probably will start with a little bit simpler one. Oh, and
Yeah,
well, no.
we
What do you
could
think?
kill the store. You could kill the store action. That might
Yeah,
be
I feel
too
like that's a little
dense.
bit like 2.0. So we've got a basic post model with a couple elements, and we've got a basic post query or post controller. I think this is really good. If you feel good with this,
Yeah, no, I think it's sweet.
okay. So what we're going to do is we're going to basically copy that file and bring it into the project root. So this, John Sugar built a lot of the file editing stuff and copying stuff. So John Sugar, I'm almost definitely going to be asking you for some insight here, but let me real quick go see where else in Lambo have we been copying files around. Hey, Sarfis. So where is the most recent time we have had one of our commands? Now, this is all Lambo world, so sorry, Jason. One of
No
our
problem.
commands that copies files in somewhere. Customize.env does a little bit of copying, I think, because I think it duplicates it. Oh, we're literally just doing like file manipulation, stuff like that. Cool. So I think I'm just going to yank these because this is, so we have these, basically this Lambo dot is like a global config where all the things they passed in are stored. Wait, Caleb is also streaming right now? Jeez, y'all. You're killing me. This is my time. All right, so let's grab this and go into this. I'm kind of tempted to give some utilities into base preset that make it easier to like move files out of stubs and stuff like that. But right now, let's just write it and then see if we want to extract
Yeah.
it. All right. So, okay. So this is going to be our project path. So this is where we want it to end up. End path equals config Lambo store project path, and then it's going to be draft.yaml. And then our input is going to be file get, basically the original. So that's going to be, we have to pull it out of our current application. I don't know if we have a file system for that. So let's go to config. How do file systems even work with Laravel 0? That's interesting. There's no file systems config here, so I don't actually know the best way to do file loading in Laravel 0. Anybody know? Oh, okay, not Caleb, just Adam. Cool. Jason is occasionally reading the chat. Jason, yeah, he just did a note in the chat, Sarfus. He just might not have seen you saying hi.
Oh, sorry. Hi, everybody.
He said thanks, and Sarfus said thanks for your help on Twitter. All right, yeah, he's in YouTube. He can see it on my screen, but it's pretty small. Oh, base path. Thanks, John. Yeah, I don't know why I thought there was an actual facility for it. So base path basically is just going to give us, for this Laravel application, give me the root path right there. And so whatever you pass in there is going to be on top of it. So base path actually will need, I think, if I'm right, John, or is base path is the Laravel one, right? Yeah, it's the app base path. So we're going to need to call the whole way into app presets pre-made stub. I'll do that for now, although we might decide to do it relative to current file instead. But let's just do this for now. App presets, unless, Jason, you have a way you think this is better as a Laravel person. Pre-made
No, I mean,
stubs.
I always kind of write the most naive version, and then I'll clean it up later.
Print. Okay, you know what? I'm having a lot of trouble seeing. Here we go. Blueprint draft.yaml. Thanks for subscribing, Josh Larson. All right, so output, this is going to be our stub. Is file get base path app presets pre-made stubs blueprint draft.yaml. Okay, great. So what we need to do is, honestly, I think there's probably just a file copy or something like that, right? Like I bet you there is.
Is it the standard file facade?
Yeah.
Yeah, there should be.
Yeah. Yep. Copy path target. So let's actually just do a straight up copy. And so it's going to be origin output, right? So this is where we're bringing it from. And then this hopefully is where we're putting it to. And then hopefully that's it. So let's just try this. Not even worry about that. And then make sure we got the file facade imported. Oh, this is not VS Code. This is Sublime Text. Okay, cool. So in theory, this should be copying this over. So we should probably, I don't know if well, okay. The one benefit of extracting this to something is it'd be easier to test specifically. I don't want to run tests against the blueprint preset itself. So if maybe this is good enough for now. All right, so let's run one of these. I don't think we've ever actually run one of the presets before. So let's go take a look at the code that actually runs this base before and see how it looks for us. So when you run the presets thing, it takes a look at all the things that you passed in separated by pipes, and then it separates out their parameters, and then it creates objects in here. Right now it's a standard class object, but we're probably going to create an actual class called like preset past or something that has the name of the preset and then the parameters. But for right now, this preset array is going to be an array of these standard class objects, preset and parameters. so that you can, oh, sorry, Marissa says, might be a good idea to add a helper that gives you root into the presets folder or preset stubs folder. You can just call presets and be good to go. Yeah, and I think that there's going to be some sort of extraction there, Marissa, definitely. All right, so for each of those presets that were passed, first of all, it gets the preset by its short name. And if I remember correctly, that's just get preset class name. I think that's just, yeah, it's just Studley casing it, which is the same as Pascal. So it Studley cases it, looks for the class. If it exists, it news it up. And if not, then it says can't resolve preset. Later, this is where we're going to do ones where you can do your own custom local ones and then also the composer loaded classes. Drummond, Caleb's not streaming. Whoever said that, they meant Adam, not Caleb. All right, so then once we have that instance, then we run the base before method, the base run method, and the base after method, and then hopefully we're good. So we're going to just actually try this because it actually looks like we're pretty close to done on that. So let's real quick say rename before run. This is going to be a long one.
Is GAC get add commit?
Yes, I know you love those. Yeah, get add and commit. But this should be a multi-line one. So, yep. Sorry about that, everybody. I try to not use those shortcuts on these streams. All right. So this is going to be add blueprint and rename before preset and then rename before run after methods. For simpler inheritance. Nope. No. Come on. What is going on here? Oh, okay, good enough. So let's push that up and then we're going to run it. So everything's so slow today.
Skyping it up.
So yeah, Lambo/Lambo, and then we're going to say my project. And I think that, I think we have this die and dump so that we can see what happens before it actually runs a project, so that we're not always actually creating a full project. So presets equals blueprint. All right. So stub publish command. Stub publish command. What on earth is stub publish command? Is that? No, that's not being generated in here.
Something that looked like Laravel 0.
Yeah, it looks like a Laravel 0 thing too, but why is it looking for stub publish command? Oh, you know what? Let's just try and do it's possible that I'm using an outdated version of Laravel 0. This might, I don't think this is my first stream on this computer, but it could be. That's, oh, you know what? That's exactly what it is. Thanks. I pulled in
Oh, I see.
the updated changes that from master that John Sugar did, and I have not run a composer install since, although I don't know why it's saying composer.lock is out of sync. Let's just do a composer update. Sorry, everybody. That's entirely my fault. Last time we were doing some writing and we were working on Laravel 06, and John Sugar told me, I'm just explaining to anybody who wasn't here, that he's like, I actually have already upgraded to Laravel 7 on something you already merged to master, so why don't you merge it in? So I merged it right before this call and then completely forgot to run composer update. All right, so while that runs, let's see.
So is Lambo only 7, Laravel 7?
Lambo right now, so it's global. So in theory, hoping you don't have other globally installed things that are prior to that, it shouldn't be too much of a concern. But I am a little bit nervous about it being a global thing that has a Laravel 7 dependency in it, because that means people who have like the Laravel installer installed that will have problems with it. But yeah,
I see.
But Lambo always in its entire history has always generated whatever the newest instance.
The latest, yeah.
Yep.
I like it. Like it.
Yep. Okay. So while that happens, let's go take a look at what's actually running this. It's the new command, and the new command, let's see where it's actually handling. So the first thing it does is it says we're creating a Laravel app. And then right here, what I did was I just threw this run presets thing and saying, hey, we're not creating real apps right now. Interestingly, because we're not creating real apps right now, this whole thing we're about to test won't work anyway because the files won't actually even exist. So we're going to have to instead just make sure that this run command runs and then actually put it in the correct place. So let's just do a real quick die and dump saying copying to just make sure that these are actually correct. And if that's correct, then we'll actually go put run presets in the correct place and then run it. Is there config? Yep. Okay, cool. All right, so let's try this. So actually, I'm glad we caught ourselves there. So yeah, /Lambo my project presets equals blueprint. Hopefully we'll get that nice echo and it'll tell us what we're doing. Unexpected semicolon. I'm sure I just made a typo in here. Probably missing missing a paren. All right. CD blah blah blah, no such file directory, that's fine. All right, copying /users Matt Stauffer sites Lambo app. Oh, I did my slashes backwards. Terminal's off the screen. What? I'm sorry about that. That's so weird.
Seems on the screen.
Oh, it's so Jason, it's only sharing to here for them. But I did a lot of work to try and fix that yesterday, and then I remembered I wasn't 1080p, and then I totally. Oh, geez. Sorry, everybody. It's probably been a problem this whole time. Yep, that's totally, okay. So I need to try and line it up with here instead. Oh, goodness. Yeah, that's not good. Okay, well, I'll just try and manually throw this up here. If it ever gets off screen again, y'all please let me know, and I will fix the graphic between now and the next stream. But let me actually go to Notion real quick to remind myself to do that. Fix the terminal being the wrong, or the screen share size being too tall, broken after updating to 1080p. I did a whole bunch of work to get it all right and then changed it to 1080p, and it broke almost everything yesterday, and this is one I must have missed. All right, so copying. Users, Matt Stauffer, sites, Lambo, app, presets, pre-made, stubs, blueprint, draft.yaml to /myproject/draft.yaml. That looks good to me. I don't know why the slashes are all wrong. It's probably because I typed them manually. Yeah, I think this is one of those things where it's not going to be a big problem, on a device-to-device situation, but we'll see. Okay, so, this is the one I should have fixed it in. All right, so does that, well, I guess there's not really anything for us to test. So let's go run it, y'all. Let's go actually put this presets thing in the right place and actually build a site using this. All right, so new commands. We're going to throw this run presets. So where would run presets run in our thing? Probably at the end is my guess. If I was going to run presets, it would be probably before this person's after script, probably before compiling assets, because it might introduce new assets, probably before installing npm dependencies, probably before initializing the git repo. Well, or should each preset that runs be its own git commit?
It depends on if you wanted to share what you're doing.
I kind of almost want it to be a different commit. So
yeah.
One commit for initialization and then one commit for each preset, so it's a little bit clearer. What do you think about that?
I mean, I think initially just all in one is fine. But yeah, I mean, down the road.
Well, the thing is, it's actually super, super, super easy. So let me just grab this code that runs it, and we're just going to exec and check this. And we'll just throw this at the end of every run preset. So each preset, then we're going to this commit preset. Commit to git. And then throw that at the bottom. And then exec and check requires Lambo action. And this might be where I, wait, no, it doesn't. Okay, I might quit out just because of this. Oh. Okay, so it's really just this shell exec. All right, sorry, everybody. I said it was going to be super, super easy, and then I was a little bit wrong there, but that's okay. I still want to do it. Jason's like, don't worry about that right now. And I'm like, let's do it.
Yep,
all right, so
classic.
each of these is going to be this shell exec in project. And then this, I'm going to ignore the info for now, and then we need to inject an instance of the shell here, which is going to be app shell, and hopefully that means we are newing these presets, this run presets thing using the container. All right, so shell, and Okay, cool. So I think we now have everything. So this commit to Git will run git add dot and git commit message. And then we're just going to do this, which is going to be add.
Do we have the preset name?
Yeah, I hope so. Oops. I am clumsier than usual today, and I don't actually know why. Maybe it's because Jason's in the call. He's making me nervous.
Right. Staring quietly over your shoulder.
It's funny because normally there's like 40 people staring quiet, or more than 40, like 80 people staring quietly over my shoulder. But preset is the name. Well named, huh? Okay, so
Nice.
commit to Git, exec and project git add dot, git commit dash m, run preset name preset. Okay, cool. So we can do a test for that later. So let's go add that to our to do. Write a test about shell receiving the git messages from each preset that is run. Jason's more obviously staring your shoulder because you can see him. That is true. You are absolutely true, and I can hear him too. All right. So in theory, this is enough. So let's go over to new command and see where we threw it. So we want to have thrown it after the get repos initialized. Great. So get repos initialized, then we should run all our presets, which should have a whole bunch of new commits. So let's commit and try it out. So what have we done here? We updated composer, and then we added the git commit, and then we moved to the right place. All right, so move.
Do you ever use git add -p?
I need to. I know how it works, but I never use it. I've started using GitHub Desktop a lot because it allows you to do that same stuff in a visual way.
See the changes.
It was so much easier to learn. I've tried to learn git add -p and get it in my workflow, and just have never been able to do it. I should. I have a friend who did a Git course. I should go take it again.
Yeah. The git diff's like the quick way to do it.
Yeah. Okay, move run presets to the correct place in new command, and update composer.lock. All right, so let's run it and see what happens. So this should actually create a new project this time. So it's going to take a little minute. All right, no errors yet. Great. Unfortunately, it's going to be slow because my computer's slow today.
So Lambo will build everything. It sets up Valet. It sets up the Git project. It does a couple.
Yeah, you know what? Let me walk you through it real quick, and this will be helpful for anybody else who has not been around for all these. So it was originally a shell script that I wrote that I eventually released as a shell script package, and then in this last year, 3 people all worked together to rewrite it in Laravel 0. And so it checks, it basically checks your path, makes sure you have all the things you need for a basic Mac-based Laravel Git Valet, type situation. But using the Laravel installer, using Valet, like simplest possible workflow. Some people have said they've almost got it working in Windows, but it's primarily targeted at Mac. Runs the Laravel installer, opens up in your editor, opens up in your browser, tweaks .env with some really reasonable defaults based on like assuming that there's going to be a table named whatever your thing is, and then setting root, the database username to root, and then password to password. So assuming that you're running kind of a really basic MySQL setup. Creates the database if you want it. Generates your app key, allows you to have passed in like which particular front-end framework you want with Laravel UI, initializes your Git repo, and then it actually runs npm install and npm run dev. You can have a after script that you have on your machine that you want to run after each install. That's custom to you, and then optionally runs Valet Link. I don't, because I use Valet Park, and then so this right now you just saw it open in VS Code because that's part of Valet actually running, or Lambo actually running. And then Valet Secure and opens in your browsers. All right, so it did open it, and it looks like a real project. Let's see if it's got a draft.yaml. It does not have a draft.yaml. Oh, and now it's got draft.yaml. And it looks right.
Sweet.
So the env.example and the .env, you can see it's got this database of my project and root. .env it does as well. So that, in general, let's take a look at our composer.json and see, do we see the things we wanted? I don't see them.
You know what? They're not there yet, but Probably want to make those dev dependencies too.
Yeah, thanks. Good thinking. Let's see if we got any errors. Yep, we got errors. Okay. Could not find package Jason McCreary / Laravel test assertions. Did I type your name wrong?
No, you got it right. I probably told you the package name wrong. I'll look it
Got
up
it.
real quick while you're
Cool.
checking that other thing.
Yeah, I'll get the dev blueprint. All right. Yeah, so we don't actually have the ability to require them as dev, so that's a really good point. We could make a separate array here that is composer dev requires, or we can make these things right here a little bit more complicated. I don't love making separate arrays like magic arrays for everything, but I kind of think that this might have to be the option unless any of you all have really clever ideas for how to do it.
Yeah, just have 2 of them.
Yep, that's kind of what
The other option is it's kind of ugly, but you could make a single array. Well, no, never mind. Never mind.
Yeah, yeah, you could have one in here that's like the live and the dev, but I feel like most of them won't be dev. So
Yeah.
So we need to modify run preset. You know, I almost want to make a preset have like a handle method so that it doesn't, so the thing that runs this does not have to like be aware of the different methods on it, but I'm not going to do that yet. So in here, oh, it's actually, no, it's in here that it's doing this. So where does it build composer? Okay, build composer require string. So there's actually going to be 2 composer require strings now. So I think we have to run it. Can you add dash dev to the beginning of the package? Hey, Lee, I'm not sure what you mean, Marissa.
It's like a format. I think they're saying like you could pre-format the project name with like dev /, and that would indicate that it's a dev dependency.
Yeah, I think I'm gonna keep doing it this way
a bit
until
dense. Yeah.
we discover that this is a terrible decision. So compose require string. How can we? Yeah. I think I'd rather doing it in a way that that's a little less magical, even though it means it's a little klutzier. But thank you for the idea, Marissa. Yeah. So build composer require string is going to do this. You know what we could do is we can build the 2 strings in here and just concatenate with a ampersand, and so basically do this for this, and then what happens if you pass nothing to composer require? Do we have to handle a null case?
It would just give you a warning.
Yeah. Nope. Yeah, we definitely don't want that.
It's ugly.
If that's something we hadn't actually tested yet, is that it shouldn't throw an error if there's nothing in there. So let's add a note to write a test for that too.
I got you, because you're always concatenating the string.
Yeah. So write a test about not composer requiring if there's nothing in that array. And doing the same for the dev array. All right, so if empty, this composer requires. So again, we're going to do the junky way and then see if there's a nice way to clean this up, because I don't like this right now, but I'm just going to get it working, and then we go from there. Yeah. And then composer dev requires, and then we have to figure out how to join them too. Woof.
just concatenate them.
Yeah, but the first one might not have anything, and so you don't want to add an ampersand if there's nothing coming after the ampersand, and you don't want an ampersand if there's nothing coming before it, right?
Oh, you have a single composer require statement.
It's a single string.
I got you.
So I think what I'm going to do is going to do this, and then requires, and again, this is not how it's going to end up, but let's just build it. And then from here, then you need to turn this into basically from here, generate a single string joined by ampersand, right? And then just return that.
Yeah.
How come Jason JMech is louder than Matt? Just because. Is it noticeable? I can pull his audio down a little bit.
Oh,
he's just piped from Skype. Don't worry, Jason. I pulled you down a little bit.
Okay.
String plus equals require implode. Yeah, exactly, Marissa. Thank you. That's what I was going to write. I just want to make sure I have this all right. So requires, and then we're building this one, and then we're building this one, and then we're joining it in here. Okay, cool. So yeah, so return, and then we got to rtrim as well. So let's rtrim these like this, and then we can do that join that Marissa just wrote. Thank you so much, Marissa, for saving my brain from having to even think about that. All right, so then we're going to return Marissa's code, which is return implode ampersand, and then I don't know if you need spaces. Do you need spaces? I always use them just in case. Requires. Okay. Oop. Needed for each over composer dev requires in the second block. Thank you. Push to a collection. Yeah, so Adrian, what I was saying on the last stream is this right here is almost definitely going to be refactorable to a nice clean collection, but the first thing you do is make it work, and the second thing you do is refactor it. Actually, often the second thing you do is test it, and then the third thing you do is refactor it. So, so red, green, refactor, baby. So refactor the composer require string building loop to a collection, probably. But a lot of that stuff I do off the streams because I want to get things working on streams. All right, so let's just read over it. If it's not empty composer requires, then build the composer require, and then for each of those, add on to the string with the require string. And so in here, this is where we need to do dev. Now, how do you do require dev when you have multiple things? Do you just throw a dev at the end?
I think just dash dash dev after require should cover it, because
So
then everything in that chain is considered a dev requirement.
Okay. Let's test that real quick just to make sure.
That would be my expectation. Yeah.
Yeah, me too. Composer require dash dash dev, and then we're going to throw in. So do you forget what the correct name of the Laravel test exertion is?
The name was correct. There is no 2.0. It's 1.0 that I tagged.
Got it. Okay, cool. So let's do doot : 1.0, and then let's just add something totally random. TitanCo tlint. I don't even know what version it's on right now. All right, so hopefully these both get thrown into the dev of this one. Thanks for following Praveen Kote. And then once this runs, we'll go over to VS Code and check our composer.json. Got 17 minutes left. How far can we make it, everybody? If we can get this this blueprint preset working in 17 minutes, I would be happy.
We're going to get
there. That a win. All right, so we've got Laravel test assertions, and we've got TitanCo tlint, and they're both in require dev. And Marissa checked us just to make sure, but it's still nice to actually run it. So this looks good. So we should have these two strings. So I think we're going to be good. So was that the only thing we were going to change? Is just fixing
just change that to 1.0, and I think we're good to go.
Okay, let's see if we made any other changes. Let's see. We added the composer dev requires concept, and then we updated yours. Okay, so add composer dev requires concept to presets. Update blueprint preset to use it. All right, so now let's get out of here. Oh, 1 second. Actually, I'm going to run the project, and then my dog just pushed in and opened the door. And we'll run Lambo, my project, presets equals blueprint, and it'll run while I go close the door. Hi, puppy. All right. Let's see where this takes us. Oh, let's close out VS Code since it's about to get spun back up. And you know what? One thing I do while we're doing this is take notes about what we've done. So let's actually write those up. What have we done so far? We built basic blueprint preset. Let me make this thing. There we go. Wow, this is so slow. Added composer dev requires array. Let's take a look at our commits to see what we've done. Moved run presets to actually run in the right spot. Added git commits after each preset. There is something similar, Adrian. It's so funny. When I was just yesterday, I was redoing things. I was trying to remember what the syntax was for searching for your recent things, because I've shared it with people before. So if anybody knows off the top of your head what the right syntax is for searching through your history of something you've typed in the terminal, so you don't have to retype it, Jason, if you know, or anybody else, I've learned it like 100 times, and I just never.
Control R.
Is that what it is on Mac too?
It should be.
Okay, I don't know why
That's
it
just
didn't work
shell
yesterday.
dependent, I think.
Oh, so this is interesting. The VS Code did not open it correctly. Is that a VS Code problem, or do we get an error? Oh, we got an error here. Oh, this is not a true error. This is a thing that John was telling us about, where the output of certain things come back with an error code, even though they're not errors. All right, so far, everything looks good, other than the fact that when it ran code dot, it wasn't the right project, but I think code has been doing that to me lately, so I'm going to not complain about that. So let's see how this treats us. Meanwhile, let me go try the Command R. All right, so I'm going to
Or I'm pretty sure it's
Control R.
Control
Yeah,
R
that's
even on a
my
Mac.
bad. So what were we doing? We're doing dot slash Lambo, Control R.
And then you would type whatever you're searching for, and then keep hitting Control R until you find it.
Hey, that's it. So there's a different one that I have tried before, but this one's
Oh,
cleaner. I like this. This is great. Thank you, everybody. I literally yesterday I was rerunning things a whole bunch of times to build a skeleton, and I was like, why on earth is this not? Whatever I can't even remember now. Whatever I was trying to type for those autocompletes wasn't working. It was driving me nuts. I felt like a crazy person.
if you keep running the same command, I'm
Mm-hmm.
not positive on Z shell just because I'm still kind of a bash guy, but I think
Mm-hmm.
you can do like double bang and then the first part of the
Yeah, the
command, and then
problem
we'll
is
find
I
it.
would be running the same series of 3 commands and then do a whole
Oh,
bunch of
gotcha.
stuff in the other terminal
Yeah.
and then, hit the fourth one or whatever. Woof. Yeah, so these error messages is definitely not fun, but that's something John knows about. It does look like it's installing it correctly.
Yeah. I've also noticed like a lot of outages with GitHub this week.
Yeah, it's been pretty nasty. But these are still not errors. So, John, if you do not have that tracked anywhere, could you let me know? Uh-oh, undefined property. Oh, I ran preset. In Git, I ran preset on the wrong thing. I should have run it on... oh, look. In here, we're actually overwriting this preset variable, but we need it. So I got to stop doing that. So these ones are going to be preset, I guess, instance. I don't know. Past preset. That's what it is, because this is a preset that is past. And so we want the past preset. And then this will be past preset. So, Marissa, I really like that. That's a really cool idea. Okay, so we're close. I'm going to have to go let my dog out now because he's hearing the kids screaming upstairs having fun and he feels like he's missing out. So what did we just change? We just changed the composer.json, which is 1, and it looks good, but let's double check. And if that looks good, then we'll go delete it and try it again now to see if the git commits worked correctly. So we've got Laravel test assertions in require dev. We've got blueprint in require dev. And then we've got draft.yaml. Nice. So let's do it one more time and see if the git commit worked. And if so, we got 10 minutes to see if we can actually get some help stuff working. You can also stun FZF. FZF is what I had. That was the one I was trying to find. Thank you so much, Kia. And that was the one I was trying to remember, and I just couldn't for the life of me remember what the shortcut was for that one. All right, so let's run this again. And no, I'm not going to do that. I'm going to hit Control R // Lambo. Look at that. That's magical, and then I'm going to let the dog out. Come on, bud.
Sweet.
Go. I understand how he feels because it sounds like they're having a ton of fun up there. We will need to squash output from composer usage and presets like we do for npm and compiling assets. Okay, cool. So let's add a note about that. Talk with John about...
Oh, like a -- quiet kind of thing.
Reworking composer require in presets to pass quiet flags so it doesn't throw a bunch of non-error errors. All right. Let's see if it opens correctly in VS Code this time. Yeah, it's kind of weird that's not working, but it worked earlier, and so far I'm going to blame this on being my computer being wonky and code being a pain sometimes, not on the thing being written wrong, but we'll see. Not -- quiet, we have to hide the progress that Webpack outputs. Yeah. But the good thing is we have the code in here, and it was pretty... every time I've had to steal something from John's initial work, it's been pretty easy. So, and just for everybody who doesn't know, so the people who've worked on this project, so I built the original Bash script, and then... Oh, why do I keep forgetting his name every time I talk? Joao Patricio rewrote it 60% of the way in Laravel 0, but he rewrote it, really kind of changing what the interface looked like. It became a very visual interface. And so Andrew Morgan at Titan came in and tried to refactor it some, but found that refactoring something that far was hard. And so I told both of them, thank you for all your hard work. You're amazing. I'm going to steal the best parts of your code. And then I did a fresh, brand new Laravel 0 install using the best parts of their code, which is what we're working with now. And then I got quite a bit along the way on streams, and John Sugar, who's been hanging out in my streams for ages, said, well, can I pick up some of that? And so John has written a lot of the stuff that interacts with the shell and stuff like that, and files and everything. Yes, Adrian, I totally love that aspect of GitHub Desktop. It's granular commits. And if anybody hasn't dealt with it before, since we're still waiting, GitHub Desktop allows you in your changes here to say, oh, I only want these ones. And that's the stage commits. That's the same idea of stage commits. And so that's what's cool about it, with chunking and everything like that. All right. So yeah, so we will fix this so that this doesn't look like a bunch of errors. You'll just see, running and then done. And
we could run the artisan blueprint build command when this is done, just to kind of prove.
Yeah, that sounds great.
And then call it done.
Yeah. So, oops, while we're at it, why don't we vim./temp/my project, and then what was I trying to vim? Oh, I was trying to look at the git log. Never mind. I don't actually know how to do that in a different directory. Okay, so nice. We did get that run blueprint preset, which is nice. And yeah, it looks basically like you expect. You got those two things added to composer.json. You got a whole bunch of changes to composer.lock, and then somewhere down at the bottom, we'll see that draft.yaml file. Yep, and there's a draft.yaml file. Very nice. Sweet. Yeah, does anybody on the stream know why all these things are outputting their status to standard error? Because that was what John was saying is basically by default, anything that comes from a shell process to standard error gets marked as an error. But why are these things outputting there? There's got to be something we don't understand about why they're doing that.
I do think composers, I've definitely run into that before where it'll send stuff out, like even when running shifts or something, like the logs get jumbled up sometimes with composer output. It's so annoying.
Well, I actually am talking to Jordy later, so I might have to ask about this. This right here looks like it is, Python. What is running Python? I'm pretty sure this has nothing to do with what we're building right now, but I am very curious. What is going on here? But yeah, I'm almost 100% sure that's just happening in npm. And yep, that was npm install. So weird, but not the problem. It runs my after script, Valley Secure. Yeah, it normally is way, 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 way faster than this. For anybody who's never worked with Lambo before, its point is speed, and it's doing this because my computer is just so overwhelmed with Skype and OBS right now. So, all right,
it's a lot to run on a laptop.
Yeah, and then of course I've got multiple displays and all this kind of stuff. So as soon as this is done running, we will run the blueprint command. So what is the blueprint command?
It's artisan blueprint :build. And it'll take the draft file, but since we named it the default, we don't even have to pass it anything.
Oh, great. All right, so it opens up my project.test, which won't work because we're in a temp directory, not my park directory. Composer outputs a standard error, I think, so you can pipe standard error to a place you don't care about and still get standard out output, which would say it's complete. That's interesting, Marissa. That's a very interesting idea if that's why they did that. Okay, so... All right, so we've got that git log. We have a single commit still, and now let's run PHP artisan blueprint build and see what we get as our output.
Fingers crossed.
Look
Boom.
At that. Beautiful. And now if we do our git status, we've got that right there. That is very cool. Someone could say the preset should actually do that. I don't think so because, again, that's not the point. The point is for you to open up that preset and then delete what's in there and make your own changes. So for most people to have to go undo this commit and stuff like that, I don't think that's a good idea. So I love the fact that we proved it, but I don't think it should be in the preset. So, dude, I feel really good about somebody being able to do that. Is there anything you would want to change about that experience?
I don't think so. I mean, I think it's pretty strong to give them a draft file with an example. And, if I continue to work on Blueprint, I could always give you a better stub or something.
Okay. Yeah. If there's anything you end up liking better, just let me know. I mean, and you can PR it in here too. It's because it's going to be
exactly. Yeah. Maybe in a week or two when I have the docs, I'll do like a better stub file with a link to the docs or something.
Sweet. That sounds great. So fix git commit typo, basically. So yeah, so I think we did that successfully. So let's go again and take a look at our history and make sure that our Notion notes. John says I should get a maxed up Mac Pro for streaming. I have an iMac at the office that works just fine. I mean, it spins up the fans, but it's not a problem. But I just didn't really feel like bringing it home. This is the only time, when I'm streaming, is the only time where I go, oh man, you know what? I really miss my my iMac right now. All right, so we built a basic blueprint preset. We added composer dev requires array. We moved run presets to actually run in the right spot. We added git commits after each preset, and that might have been it. We didn't add any tests today, but I've got notes to write tests when we've got a little bit more breathing room. And I think that's everything we did. So things to do later. We didn't do help. So we want to be able to have each preset define its own help and also a description of what it does in general, what parameters it expects. So this is probably going to be our next big thing. We want to fix these composer issues so we're not seeing all those all that squawking. And then I want to write tests around some of the stuff that we did today. Oops. And then, of course, we want to refactor it to collections. That's the name of the book, so let's do it. And then, of course, I will fix my screen size being too small on the stream. Sorry about that, everybody. And then all this is other stuff, so nothing to worry about. So yeah, this was really fantastic. Jason, I really appreciate you joining me. Is there anything you want to tell everybody about Blueprint, how to follow up on it or follow you or kind of get involved in it going forward or anything?
Yeah, appreciate you having me on. Twitter's probably the best place for a while. I've been quoting some, kind of fundamental Laravel tips lately, and then
Yeah, it's good
Blueprint.
stuff.
I'm going to be working, like I said, on the documentation probably over the next week to try to help newer people, kind of get up to speed quickly with it because I think it's gaining a lot of traction. I think the community really likes it, so I'm excited about it and glad to see it helping also with Lambo to make things even faster.
Yeah. Do you think of Blueprint as like ready for the big time, or is it still kind of alpha? I mean, I see it's a 1.0, so is it ready to go?
Yeah, I'm pretty good about tagging things intentionally with 1.0, so it's pretty strong.
Love it.
Some of the releases lately have a lot of new features in them, so from 1.5 to 1.6, there's definitely some changes, but yeah, I mean it's solid as far as I can tell. I've used it for a lot of quick things lately.
Well, I was telling Jason before we got on the call, or before we started sharing, that when people do packages like this, I used to always be involved really early on, and I've discovered that what I like better is using it once it's ready for prime time. So like with Caleb's Livewire and stuff like that, I didn't use them until they were like tagged. I used Caleb's a little bit before it was tagged because I want to have the experience of being a new person who doesn't understand it, who doesn't have the context, and who can experience it. And both kind of like, I think that I get the best experience of it that way, of like not saying, oh, I'm biased to like this just because I've been here through the whole process, but I really get to experience it. But then I also feel like I can give better feedback that way because I don't know anything about it. I haven't seen your whole backstory. But sometimes that means I missed the 1.0. I didn't even know you'd release this 1.0, so this is my first time. I've watched a couple of your videos and then tried to ignore them again so I could have this experience. So this is a ton of fun. It's really cool how easy this is. I'm super excited about working with it. So
cool.
Marissa gave a suggestion. John, you and Marissa and I can talk about that a little bit later. Thank you for the suggestion, Marissa. Jason, thank you so much for hanging out. Thanks for getting us working. And everybody else, thank you so much for hanging out for the stream. And we'll see you again next Friday, same time.